And joining us now is Hannah Nicollet, the Independence Party candidate for Minnesota governor, who was not a part of that debate. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thanks
Hannah,
for
were
having
you
me.
told why you couldn't be a part of that debate?
We were given some reasons, but none of them made a lot of sense.
What were you told?
So apparently when the Duluth Chamber spoke to the media, they said that we contacted them at the 11th hour, and if they consider early September the 11th hour, well, that's interesting that they take that long to plan. But what they told us is the first reason we were given is that they didn't want to break protocol. And we asked what protocol would they be breaking, considering Tom Horner was included last time, and yeah, that's been the precedent. So they didn't. So when we asked what protocol, they didn't say. And then the other reason that we were given is that it would, final reason was that it would be a violation of trust with the Johnson and Dayton campaigns.
Mm-hmm. What does a third-party voice bring to a debate like this as we're heading toward the end run?
I believe we bring a needed third option. We are, the Independence Party has been able to advance issues that haven't always been mainstream. Jesse Ventura advanced the marriage equality issue long before it was mainstream, and so we are able to give a voice to issues before they become mainstream. Right now, we adopted full marijuana legalization to our platform in June, and also ranked choice voting is a huge part of our platform. So those are a couple issues that we're able to
Basically, Hannah, how do you differ from Governor Dayton and from Jeff Johnson?
Good question. So we are socially live and let live, wouldn't legislate morality, and we are fiscally responsible, meaning that we believe in doing a cost-benefit analysis before expenditures and wouldn't spend money that we don't have. So we are kind of half of the other two, at least in philosophy.
Let's just start getting into some of the issues. The economy is always a big one.
Yes.
What concerns you most about Minnesota's economy, and as governor, what would you do to fix it?
Right. My biggest concern right now is the fact that we aren't creating enough private sector jobs. Minnesota has only had a 0.8% growth rate over the past year, so that's nothing to brag about. We are now ranked 41st in the nation for private sector job creation and last in the Midwest. And so what I'd like to do about that, the way that I see it, if you want to bring businesses to your state, put a sale on being a business. And our corporate income tax, which actually hurts small businesses more than it hurts the larger corporations because they're not as adept at getting those deductions.
Sure.
And they spend a lot of time on it too. It's actually so we have the third highest corporate income tax in the nation at 9.8%, but it's only 4% of our revenue, so it's really not a huge piece of the pie. It's also the most costly to collect. So the way that I see it, it's a no-brainer. We put a sale on being a business, we eliminate the corporate income tax, and we start advertising that Minnesota is open for business.
A big issue in the debate has been expansion of mining on the Iron Range.
Absolutely.
Where do you stand in that as an independence candidate?
Right. Well, the last environmental impact study came back about on par with the Green Line. So the only concern that I would have as far as going forward with mining is that the money is secured, because we've had instances where there was an instance in Canada with some leakage, but then also they've pretty much addressed that. I talked to Tim Giesecke, my running mate, about that. He's actually an ag and environmental policy expert. But at any rate, there have been instances where mines have declared bankruptcy on the closing end, and that's where some real big expenses come in. It costs $200 million to close the mine, and then $6 to $7 million for each year of maintenance thereafter, which goes for a couple centuries. So provided that the money is secured, then there's absolutely no reason that we shouldn't go forward with it.
We heard from the other two candidates in the clip about their views of transportation. Transportation has been a big issue for you.
Yes, agreed.
What do you see again as the problems and the solutions there?
I don't understand why we haven't been prioritizing it, where we've let it get to this point, because right now we're at a point, MnDOT estimates the price tag at $7 to $9 billion, and when you have a $38 billion biennial budget, that's a huge, you can see how substantial that is for us as a state. Regardless, we have 50% of our roads that are over 50 years old and need of repair, and the sewers underneath also need extensive work also, and then over 1,000 bridges that are considered structurally deficient. But the price tag is $7 to $9 billion, so we have to prioritize that. The way that I see, we don't have money to put towards non-essential spending.
Should passenger train service be renewed between Duluth and Superior and the Twin Cities?
I'd have to see a cost benefit on it, but my gut is that it's probably, the cost benefit on roads is that for every dollar that you spend, you get a $3 to $4 return. So roads and bridges are our primary focus right now, and if we were rolling in it and we could look at other things, that'd be one thing, but we've neglected the roads and bridges for too long as a state.
Mm-hmm. We only have about a minute left, but what are the other big issues that you really want to let people know you care strongly about?
Well, we have an achievement gap that's high. It's one of the worst in the nation, and so we need real innovation in education. We already spend 43% of our budget as a state on education, so clearly we care about the issue. It's a priority for us. You can see it in how, where our heart is, there our wallet is, right? But we haven't been willing to innovate, so we need more innovation in education. And I approached this, I was a software developer, and one of the first things that we learned is that you don't reinvent the wheel. Whenever you've got to solve a problem, you don't need to build something from the ground up. You just find an example of where someone's succeeding at what you want to do and implement it. Take it, tailor it to your situation, maybe piece by piece, but we have examples where schools with really high-risk kids have had a ton of success. And so that's what I would like to do is we have to be willing to innovate.
Okay. Hannah Nicollet, Independence Party candidate for Minnesota governor. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate
Thank you.
that.
Thanks.